let's get into this.
Okay.
Okay.
I got a bubbly tonight.
Oh, I got a rally. Another rally. 3, 2, 1.
I'm feeling a little dehydrated, so I got the non-alcoholic carbonated beverage this evening.
You've earned it, man. You had a fantastic workout today. So I'm glad you're recovering smartly. And I'm in my off season for the next 36 hours.
It's a good time for the off season. So
yeah, it doesn't really matter.
I would like to introduce to the world Rob Watson, 100-kilometer runner, right here. Everybody, Rob Watson, 100-kilometer runner. Nicely done. Congratulations. How much did you hate your life during your 8 hours and 6 minutes on the seawall a couple of days ago?
Thank you so much, Gary. Thank you so much. You know what? That was a really cool experience. It was, I was telling you, like, I knew it was going to get really, really hard at some point. It just got really, really hard an hour or two earlier than I hoped. It felt like it was a perfect day. We hit an amazing weather window. Fantastic. And then so Genevieve and I just went out bright and early in the morning. I started at about 8:07 a.m. And the first 50 kilometers were easy.
Clockwork. You were 3:28 through 50K.
Yeah, and that was with a shoe change and a pee break.
Oh, no way. Were you 3:38 or 28 through 50K?
3:38.
Because on your Insta stories, you accidentally said 2:38.
Oh,
I don't know if you noticed that. And I was like, whoa, wait, no, I think he's off by an hour.
Maybe I was having a real good day. No, I was 3:38. And yeah, and that was with a pee break. Well, the pee break was 10 seconds. I timed myself. And a shoe change because my shoes
were.
Did
you actually stop running while you were peeing, or did you just pull a roadie?
I had to stop. I've tried to in my career train myself to pee on the run. I know Dylan can do it, but I can't do it. And I've tried in races. I wasn't trying on because I didn't want to have pee shorts for 4 hours. I figured that would really affect my
ultra running. We don't pee on ourselves in ultra running. That's a road running thing. I did manage to pee on myself in the sun run one year in like kilometer 2. I was locked in that chute for so long. There was nowhere to go. And I think a lot of people just kind of like trickle down their leg in the start chute. I started running. I was 2 kilometers in and I peed while I was running and I had on gray shorts. So I ran to the water station covering like my crotch and then grabbed a water and was very animated in missing my mouth and dumping. Oh my God, I can't believe I couldn't get this water in. This is water. This is clearly not urine on my body right now.
Did you all see that? Well, you'll see carnage in road. Usually it doesn't happen at 2K to a 10K, but you'll see some carnage at road races and also in ultra races. So you can pee on the
Absolutely, yeah. So okay, so you took the 10-second pee break. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and then the shoes I was wearing, I was already developing some pretty gnarly blisters, so I had a backup pair. So I was running and I called Jen and I was like, "Hey Jen," and she's like, "Yeah, are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, can you get my other shoes ready?" She's like, "Okay." It was cool. So I called her. But yeah, man, like I started off and did my little loops and I was trying to be very patient. And I was trying to hold back, and I maybe did not hold back as much as I should have or wanted to, looking back at my splits. But it felt so easy, and it felt so good. And, like, when I hit 50K, I had thoughts in my head. I was like, if I push, maybe I can, like, go under 7 hours. But then I was like, no, I have to get to at least 80 kilometers before I can even think about going fast. But that's what everyone's telling me. You got to get to 50 miles before you can do anything. And then between 50 and 60, the legs, the quads started kind of like talking to me. And I was like,
well, every step, as you said, every step after 50K was brand new for you.
It was going into the unknown. And I don't know if that triggered something in my brain being like, what's going on here? And I was like, all right, well, is this, am I going through a bad patch? Is this the way my day's going? Like, what's going to happen here? And it was just so crazy how I went from cruising 420Ks to being like, and then at 50K, I was like, okay, like 54, 55K, I was like, let's focus on being comfortable and being smooth. So I backed up. I was like, I'm just going to run 4:30s and 4:45s. And I did that for about 10K, but then it got to be hard to like run 5-minute Ks, and my quads were just going and going and going. And it was really, really weird because my mind was clear. My heart rate was probably quite low. I was eating and drinking really, really well. My eating and drinking went fantastic because I remember you telling me one time, you're like, as soon as you hit a bad patch, eat
your way out of it.
Drink, take nutrition. So I was taking so much nutrition. I was crushing endurance tap. I was drinking my noons and my sports drink. I was crushing it. And yeah, I needed one of those. But the quads just weren't getting better. The quads just weren't cooperating. They weren't coming around. And then at about 65K, I remember I stopped. I had another bottle station with Jen. I was looked at her and I was like, I like, this isn't going that well. And I was like, I almost like burst into tears. I was like, I have 3 hours to go and I don't want to be doing this for the next 3 hours. She rubbed my arm and she was like, you've trained for this. This is what you do. You know, you can do it type thing. And I was like, I know I can do it, but I don't want to do it. And then I kept running, but then like in my head, I was like, you know what? I do want to do this. I really like, I'm okay with suffering for 3 hours now than stopping and having stupid regrets, because it was
stop. Yeah. You put it out there so much, right? Like and that's a good thing. That's to put it out there and have to know that you're being kept honest by everybody around you. And you wouldn't have stopped anyways, even if this was a solo project that nobody was paying attention to.
Yeah, because the reason to do it was to see if I could do it and also to experience what it's like. So I just kept telling myself, I was like, this is what you knew was going to happen. This is why you're doing it. You're doing this to experience something new. And it was really weird to be experiencing, like, usually like when I blow up in a marathon, you go like delirious and physically you shut down, mentally, but like, it was like, I was so with it mentally. So it was just like, oh, my legs hurt so much. And I felt so helpless, but I just had to wrap my head around the fact that it's like, okay, just chip away, just accept the fact that it's not going to be as great as you wanted in terms of time, but the ultimate goal was completion. And you know that you're going to complete this damn thing. Just be patient and manage it and you'll be fine. It was like, when I started, it was like, be patient and be smart. And maybe I wasn't smart enough. So then it turned from be patient and be smart. It's like, be patient and be tough, because you're finishing. It's just going to be freaking tough to get there. Right. And, just talking to myself and trying to remain positive and just like having a positive mindset. So important. I had to stay uplifted. Right. Even though physically I was so broken. Well, I mean, I'm just being dramatic.
Your quads shut down and they didn't come back. Like that's where a lot of people end up dropping out of events. You still had 40 kilometers to go when you mentioned that your quads were done. Like I was following along. I was watching your stories as you were posting them. It was very obvious that you got into a world of hurt early and you had to push through some really difficult struggles to make it all the way to the 100K.
Yeah. And it's like, I didn't know. I was like, maybe they'll come back. Maybe they come back. I don't know. Like, I knew there was going to be ups. I knew there was going to be downs. And I just didn't know this was going to just be the theme. So it was a little disappointing. But I mean, you get what you prepare for. So obviously I didn't prepare my quads enough to handle the distance. Right. And that's nothing but my own lack of doing what I had to do type thing.
So I was thinking this through while you were out there and since then. An observation that I've come up with is you did this entirely on pavement, correct? Like you weren't on, right? It was a paved path.
No, it was a combination between crushed gravel and pavement.
What was the percentages? What would you say, like out of your lap?
You know what? It was mostly like, because it wasn't actually the seawall. It was down at Jericho Beach. From Jericho to Spanish Banks. So it was that gravel part. So it was a 7.4 kilometer loop, which I ended up shortening.
I saw that.
Yeah, because there was wind coming. And also there were so many people out there on that day because it was a beautiful day. So like I shortened the lap to avoid people. So it probably ended up being 60% on gravel and maybe 40% on the road type thing.
Okay. So yeah, like 40 to 50 kilometers of pavement, and then 40 to 50 kilometers of, or 50 to 60 kilometers of gravel.
Yeah.
There are very few 100-kilometer races outside of actual like world championship events and comrades kind of thing that are on pavement at all, let alone entirely. And I think that that was a factor. I think the amount of pavement that you had under your body definitely impacted your legs. I mean, I don't think that's really can be argued one way or the other, or argued against. And I was wondering, for a potential future attempt, if it makes sense to do something like Burnaby Lake, or somewhere where we can eliminate the pavement all entirely, if not all but entirely, and alleviate a little bit of that impact force on the body.
Yeah, and that makes so much sense, right? Because we choose pavement because in our heads we're like, well, the trails are slow because you can't run as fast, right? But
Yep.
like when you're trying to run 4:30 a k, it's minimal, and it's yeah, it's not like you're affecting your when you're going. So yes, absolutely, I agree. Having a softer surface constantly would make much more sense. Burnaby Lake's kind of windy. I think I'd choose something other than Burnaby Lake, but like that type of surface, I agree. I agree. And I just want to like I wanted to ask you like what are like what would be some strategies in terms of alleviating or setting myself up better to have more resiliency within my quads to handle the distance. And it was funny because as I was doing like my shuffle post quad shutting down, I was like, oh, this is why ultra runners run like this, because this is just
That's all they
like
can do.
safety, right?
You've laughed at them. That's not running. Meanwhile, your body's like, that's all it can do.
Yeah, and you know what? This experience. I mean, I've generated like I mean I've developed such a sense of like respect for ultra trails and stuff, but even more so because that was just 100K and it broke me pretty good at 60K.
You're not allowed to
So
say
people who
just.
do
You're not
this,
allowed to, you have to remove that word from the lexicon entirely, especially for this. But yeah, it was 100K,
yeah,
and you got thrashed.
oh yeah,
But the reality is, like, this is the learning curve for ultra marathons, especially for fast guys like you. I mean, you don't have to look very far in the sport to see some of the guys that are at or near the top of the sport right now that have come from very similar backgrounds to you, and they're succeeding now and have been for a little bit. But if you have followed their journeys, you will have seen similar struggles initially to figure it out. I think Hayden Hawks is a prime example. Solid dude, super talented. He's got wheels. He's winning races. He's doing great things in the sport. But if you look back over the last 3 to 4 years of his transition into ultras, he struggled for a couple of years there. And everybody knew his potential. And I think anybody that was paying attention knew he was going to figure it out. And I think it's similar for yourself. It's just, it's really challenging to take the speed that you developed and then apply it to distances like this. There's a steep learning curve. But what I appreciate about yourself and Hayden and guys like this so much is that you're not too proud to try something new, and you're not too proud to figure it out. You know, you've been at the pointy end of your sport for your entire life. And those that know you and know you're capable of know that that's going to happen in the ultra scene. And what you went through this week is very comparable to what a lot of guys experience and gals when they're transitioning into these new distances.
awesome. Thank you. Thank you for that. And that's good insight. It's nice. No, it's nice to get that perspective, right? Because I want to continue and I want to get better, right? And so it was super important for me to mentally experience a full 8 hours of running, because the longest, you know, that's by far the longest I've ever run before, distance wise and time wise. So that was super important. Pardon?
Did you walk?
I walked. Yeah, there was walks.
So it wasn't 8 hours of running then, Rob.
7 hours and 54 minutes of running and some walk breaks. True. True. Like I needed to experience that. I needed to be, and sometimes I'm guilty of this. Is sometimes it's like, and I know a lot of people kind of in like the faster like marathoning atmosphere, they don't necessarily give the distance or the speed the respect it requires, because like I was telling you before, 420 kilometer feels so easy. It feels like I'm jogging. I took into like, and I thought like it was gonna be a fitness thing. And I mean, it was, but it was more like just like a muscle thing. Like my muscles couldn't handle the distance. It was nothing to do with like the pace or that. It was more like my body just broke down. And I think sometimes people don't give that the kind of the credit it deserves. I like, and or like they don't give the distance the respect it deserves.
Absolutely.
And it's just it's very very different. And obviously it takes like you have to be really fit. You got to be aerobically fit. You got to be cardiovascularly fit, but you got to take care of a lot of other things along that way. And I think like, I mean, I was only running 80 miles a week. So obviously I just need to run more in general, but there's other things I got to do along the way to get resiliency and better prepared.
And I don't know that running a ton more than that is necessary to perform at an elite level over that distance, but I'm guessing that your body needs more runs in the 20 to 25 mile range. I don't believe personally in doing runs over 30 miles. I think doing 30 mile run or 30-mile training runs is beneficial, but I always take the Tim Tollefson example, who's finished second at UTMB a couple of times.
That's
and
badass.
his training for UTMB. Oh yeah, and Tim comes from a fast background like yourself, right? Fast marathoner. I think he was 2:18, and I'm sorry if I'm adding time to his marathon time.
Yeah, 2:17 or 2:18.
Okay.
Excellent runner. Yeah.
Yeah, right in that range. And he, in the years he was training for and performing on the podium at UTMB, explicitly has stated like he didn't do longer than a 50K training run. So going beyond 50K in training, you increase the propensity for injury. But I think, yeah, that 20 to 25 mile sweet spot that would create a lot more conditioning is probably what the focus will have to be into the next. Am I allowed? Will there be another go at 100 kilometers?
Oh, 100%, man. Like, I can't let
I
that
wanted you to say it because I knew that you were, but I wanted you to say it.
That can't be the only one. Like, I want to get an official one in my legs. I want to get a faster one in my legs. I want to get one where I prepare adequately. I want to give myself 6 months to do this and focus on it and see what I can do. I was doing this one for experience. Sorry?
Yep.
I was just doing this one for experience, to do it, to see if it was something I was interested in. And in being quote unquote defeated by it, it's more like, damn, I need to get that better. And this is all relatively speaking, of course, right? Because we all set our own goals. And I had goals of finishing, but I also had these time goals in my head because I just come from that background of having that speed and pace metric, which has always just been part of my world as a runner. So I have performance goals that I can't let that be. I mean, I'm proud of what I did. I'm super proud of myself for completing 100 kilometers because it was one of the more challenging things I've ever done. But now I want to do it right. And so I'm excited and I'm fired up once my legs start working again to do something. Dude, I'm shredded. I am absolutely shredded.
You were shredded before you went into this. Are you talking about your physique?
Well, now I'm shredded, and so yeah, that's why it's in many ways. I'm shredded in many ways.
Now you can see your calves for the first time.
Oh man, but yeah, like it was. But yeah, dude, there'll be another one, and there'll be.
I would wager my house on you breaking 725 in your next go in 6 months, without question, 1,000%. In terms of the quad, breaking down the quad question. So that was an interesting one because I saw that happening, and then I was, thinking that over as to like what potential causes and how to rectify that. So with my ultra distance athletes, it's mostly for mountain-based stuff, but we have something in the taper phase that we call a quad destroying workout. And it essentially is going uphill really easy for 30 to 40 minutes and running down a really steep hill as fast as you can for anywhere from 12 to 25 minutes, depending on the person and the distance. And what this does is it leaves you with super sore quads with the DOMS, delayed onset muscle, for a day or two. And I figured this out myself 10 years ago, where these workouts almost insulate your quads. So when you put the hurt on there, like your quads are going to be bomb proof after this for, you know, a period of 4 to 6 weeks kind of thing, where there's almost like a half-life each day where you lose a little bit more of that resiliency. And what I found personally, and with my athletes that I coach, is that doing a quad destroying workout within 7 to 12 or 14 days of race day generally alleviates or really assists in quad breakdown. Now, I didn't understand or process the need for something similar in a flat 100-kilometer run. But again, when you factor in the pavement and other variables right now, I'm kind of seeing that, like, okay, there's some things that we could definitely focus on going into your next attempt that I think are going to easily prevent and insulate your quads from being a limiting factor after 50K into 60K and beyond.
Sweet. Well, I know exactly where I'm doing that. Driving to North Bend, parking at Park Royal, doing the jogging up Capilano trails up Nancy Green Way to the back of Grouse, and then turn around and bombing down. That's it. I'm gonna do that. So I'm gonna do.
Exactly that.
It's gonna be
yep.
great.
And you'll be sore for a day or two, and then your quads will be pretty tight, pretty tough on race day.
Sweet, man. Yeah, it's exciting. Like, and I mean, I just got to take a moment here to send some thanks out. I got to obviously send thanks to Genevieve, my wife, who did an amazing job as the crew. She was so good. She was so good being out there. She just stood there all day, just for 8 hours, just handing me bottles, being like, all right, you do you. I love you. Great. And then I had some friends came and ran with me after 50K. Ben Jackson, Gabe, Ian's wife, Keith, their new baby, Hank, Thomas, an athlete of mine. My buddy John came out for a little bit. Ferg Hawk was out there taking pictures. I'm sure you know Ferg.
Oh, I know Ferg very well. Yeah, Ferg's awesome. And his son Carter is actually a super solid runner now too.
Absolutely, absolutely. Like my friends Lee and Laurel were out there. So I saw a lot of people out there, and they took the time out of their day to like come and support me and everything. And that meant a lot. It absolutely meant a lot. Like as I was running and every step hurt, having those cheers, I was like, well, that's 10 seconds of hurt I don't have to worry about because I'm really happy. And so I just got to send huge gratitude to those people. It was fantastic. So thank you to them. And if I miss anyone, I'm so sorry. And thank you to you, my ultra running consultants. It really helped having somebody, and also even just like the inspiration of watching the Big Chill before and seeing you throwing up in the middle of the night and being like, all right, well, it's not that bad. It's not like I'm on top of a mountain throwing up right now. I'm just running through a park with sore legs. I'm okay. I'm gonna be okay, right? So, yeah. So it was a really truly cool experience, and it was hard, but that's whatever. It's 100 kilometers. It's gonna be hard, and I'm really happy I did. I'm proud of myself for doing it. And
yeah, you should be, man. I think everybody that watched is proud of you, right? Everybody that watched this is super impressed. And I know it wasn't your absolute goal going into this. And when I saw you going into the last 10K, I was like, oh, if he's got legs, he's shooting for sub 8. And it was right there at 8:06. And I know how your mind would have been operating in that spot. Yeah, absolutely, right? There's no way you're not. But that's still a super solid debut 100K, even though it's off your goal time by a bit. And again, I think there's nothing but growth from this experience. And you learned a lot. And the other thing worth mentioning is, the central governor theory, the body's need to limit your ability to injure or hurt yourself or go into foreign terrain. And after you mentioned, every step after 50K is brand new, it's predictable that your body, your mind really struggles and limits your ability to perform from 60 through 80K until your mind accepts and understands the finish is imminent. And in Adirond Finn's book, The Rise of the Ultra Runner, he details multiple times when he's running his first big ultras how you go through this phase of believing it's impossible, and then when the finish is within sight, you get this surge of energy because your body now allows you to get there. And when you establish your new distance, your mind now understands your body understands that it's possible, and that central governor is not going to try to shut you down as much as it did here. That's something that you develop and grow over years.
Yeah, man. Yeah, thank you. And that's in here now, right? And that's in here now. So I know, and that's I appreciate that. And You know, it's like something I've always like my first ever marathon was 2:16. The fastest marathon I ever ran was 2:13. So it took me a long, long time and a lot of work to go from 2:16 to 2:13, which is 3 minutes. So now I'm excited. Now I can go from like 8:06 to like 7:30 down to like, so, you know, it's like I can take off chunks of time. I never got to do the chunks. So, there we go. Look at the bright side. And there's this checks the thing along the way. But in regard, I mean, that was cool. Really awesome experience. I'm really happy it's done. Cheers. But now the ball's in your court, bud. Now the ball's in your court. You had an awesome workout today. Your last few your workouts are going great, and like we talked about last week, you're continuing to trend in such a positive way. And we were talking before we started recording, like we're starting to throw some times out there. We're not going to share those. We're starting to throw some times out there. We're on the same page, and you're putting in the work to get there, and it's really exciting. You're doing so well. Tell me about today's workout.
The last two workouts in particular have really been a step forward, both of them. And I'm super pumped on that. And the thing is, like, I really we're going to do the 10K next weekend. Today we're filming this on it's a Wednesday, right? Yes. Thursday, this will be posted. So anywhere from 8 to 9 days off from that, depending on what the weather looks like for next weekend. But I already know that I want to continue through this and continue training into future further 10K goals, because I see I haven't capped out just yet. Every workout feels better. Every workout I feel stronger. Every workout I feel like I've gotten more conditioned for what I'm doing. So I'm super excited to run next weekend, but also excited to continue to build on this until I do find myself getting into a range where I feel like I've started to plateau. And then figure stuff out from there. But yeah, today's workout was 10 by 600. And essentially I did 13 by 400 2 weeks ago. Yep. And I was able to basically match the 400 pace over a distance of 600 today, 2 weeks later. So I'm really, it's been good to feel the conditioning taking shape, and it's as much physical as it is as it is for my fitness. It's as much muscular as it is threshold.
Yeah, and it's something I love about the sport, right? It's like we were talking before, it's like you're learning how to fight in 2-minute intervals, right? And I'm learning how to fight over 40 kilometers, but it's the same type of idea of just getting your head wrapped around what's going on and continue to push forward. And you doing these workouts in such intensity on the track by yourself in cold, rainy weather, like
it was so bad. It was 3 degrees, hammering rain. And I have Raynaud's, which is like a circulation issue in your hands.
I have that too.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, they go white. It's awful.
They go white, and you can't. Your thumbs actually become dead. They're on. You get to the point where you can't use your thumbs, and it's maddening. And I ski tour regularly, and I can regulate body temperature ski touring no problem. But it's that 3 degrees in rain, 3 to 8 degrees in rain. It kills me every time, and that's what it was today. And it was just so comically horrible at the end of the workout, because I'm standing drenched in the rain and trying to switch out my clothes, and my thumbs won't work. And it took me probably like 9 minutes to get my shorts and socks and shirt off and get on pants and a hoodie. And it's just like, maddening. So yeah, I was happy I got the workout done. And I said to myself when I was out there, that's it. Like, I've got 3 workouts, including that one. So there's only 2 to go. Yep. So as much as it sucked to be out in those conditions, I was like, no, this is it. This matters. Today matters a lot for this. And you've got 2 workouts to go after this, that being Sunday and probably Tuesday or Wednesday next week. So yeah, really pleased with where I'm at right now. And it's been interesting to do entirely different training, but to do it solo again. Like, I haven't had any track club or team or anybody to train with, but still had good facilities, like an actual good track to run on here locally.
Yeah. And also, like, that was the hardest one you have left, because the next 2 are more sharpening up. And like, you know, just getting you to the start line type thing. There's some benefits to be had, but today was like, let's hit this one real hard type thing. Are you going to race on the track?
The 10K?
Yeah.
If we're still in agreement on the route, what's his name? Luca Bouchard?
Luc Boucher? Yeah.
Okay. And you guys, they set a course in Langley, right?
Yep.
So
5K out, 5K back.
yeah. So that was the plan, and I think that still makes sense to do so.
Okay, cool.
So with that course, explain to people real quick. But then, is there a marked start and turnaround point on that course, or what's the deal?
We're gonna. I'll talk to him and see if there is, because it's in Fort Langley and it's a flat 5K out, 5K back. And because Rich Lee, who's their coach, who's a very, very meticulous coach, so I think he just went all around probably went all the way to the Lower Mainland. Was like, where's the fastest place we can run a 10K? So I will get the absolute logistics on it. We have the Strava map, but yeah. I need to know the actual where exactly we start, where exactly we turn around, because it's in Fort Langley and it's on a road. There's a shoulder on that road, so we could stagger and have someone on a bike and we can take care of it there. So I'll get that absolute logistics, but it's a flat road. We'll go to Fort Langley, warm up, and do stuff from there, type thing. Yeah. And
we're also going to need to know where the closest bathroom access is.
Yeah. Well,
that's another thing that's been interesting with this.
The woods.
The intensity of running. My stomach is finicky at the best of times, but that's been one of the things to figure out doing these workouts. The track facility that I enjoy using doesn't have any public accessible washrooms. So it's been like figuring out where I can do a warm up and use the bathroom real quick and then get into my workout properly.
That's an actual nightmare. That sucks.
Yeah, running intensity like this is very different on the body, and it's different stresses on the body, and with my stomach, it's not conditioned to operate at that intensity on a regular basis. So I have early on in the workouts, I definitely had some days where I was like, I'm not enjoying this, and I don't know where the nearest bathroom is right now.
Yeah, and that's a nightmare that so many athletes will come to. So I guess sometimes you have these races and you're like, is today like a poop yourself day? Like, am I willing to poop myself today? Is that how bad I want it? Or is today like, I'm gonna, no, but we'll figure it out, man. I mean,
so the question then becomes, you were expecting and hoping to pace me.
Yeah.
You're gonna put your 6'3" frame in front of me, and I'm still gonna be able to see around both sides of you, but I'm gonna be behind your spine. And are your legs gonna be ready for that next weekend, do you think?
I did a 20-minute walk on the treadmill today and it was okay. So you know what? That my legs are getting better each day. So as long as I can run, I'll be there for sure.
Fantastic. All right. So we should look to wrap here in a little bit, but let's talk about some draw prize stuff. So first and foremost, who won the guessing game for your 100K?
What was the name? What was the name of the person?
Wasn't it Carla?
Put me on the spot here. I sent you a picture of it.
Yep.
Here we go. Oh, it was Tara Logue, Logue, Tara_Logue on Instagram. She guessed 8:06:40. Yes. I'll send her a message. She went 8:06:40 and I went 8:06:11 is my official time. I did have a mild marathon athlete named Shira. She guessed 8:05, but she didn't put any seconds. She didn't put any seconds behind it. So therefore, I mean, if she guessed like 8:05:59, she would have won. But she didn't. Sorry.
And what has she won?
She has won some Lululemon gift swag. I'm going to get her a top and a pair of shorts.
And for guessing correctly, she's also won a Princeton Tech Sync headlamp.
Yeah, right. And also along those lines, I gotta give a shout out to Lululemon's run department, because I wore a pair of Surge 4-inch shorts, lined, and 100 kilometers, no chafing. Didn't chafe.
Amazing. That's actually super impressive. That is yeah. Squirrel's nut butter does work really well, and yeah, as you get into ultra distance, I'm amazed we didn't have the chafing talk in advance either.
Dude, I lathered up, and then the shorts helped a lot too.
So for this right here, right now, the first male and the first female that place a comment in the section down below win a Territory Runco Tech hat. Territory Runco Tech hat, first male, first female to pop a comment in below right there right now. So put those aside because those are spoken for. And then the other draw prizes that remain that we'll figure out giving away, a Princeton Tech Snap.
I have one of those.
300 lumens. Yeah. Salomon handheld water bottle.
Ooh, nice.
Times 2.
Nice.
And we're in another endurance tap. So it's not the 1 liter chug fest multi-use, but it's a 6-pack of caffeinated. So endurance tap also make caffeinated. So there'll be a 6-pack of caffeinated sent out. This is what I use. You just pour 2 shots into a small flask, mix it with water, and it's fantastic fuel. And the grand prize for the person who guesses my runtime closest is a Salomon backpack. And this is the Salomon. You think I'd know, right? S-Lab. There's so many different, they're all very, what do we got here? It's a Salomon S-Lab backpack, and it's a good one.
I think that's one I have, and it's great.
It is the Sense 5, backpack. So we still got some really good draw prizes to give away, and I mentioned the Endurance Tap 6-pack. So the first male and female that comment on this have won the hats. And we will, Rob and I, connect one more time next week before I run next weekend. And that's when we'll start doing the guesses as to my run time. Yeah, so with that.
No, not with that. We got to announce the winners of last week's contest, right? The guessing.
We did last week. We announced the winners last week. There was a mix-up. So your
mix-up. That was it. Yes.
Kyle Imhoff. Kyle actually was the first person that guessed Rob's 33. We made a mistake. I made a mistake and pulled the wrong name, and Kyle messaged us. So we ended up with 3 winners for the 2 guesses last week because we kept Denny. We gave him his draw prize, and then we got another one for Kyle. So thanks to Rob and Lululemon Mile Marathon for being able to do that.
Wicked. And before we go, I need you to tell me a little bit about what Territory Run Co. is, because I don't really know them very well.
All right. Territory Run Co. are based out of Portland, Oregon. And I've known Brent, the founder, since they started this early on. He was a good friend of good friends. And we've worked with them for the last couple of years for all of our race shirts. So nice. Territory Run Co. had a Canadian subsidiary for a little bit. They make fantastic run branded gear. So check them out, territoryrunco.com, I think. And it's a small business, really good person behind it, and super cool products.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Now I'm educated.
There you go. Absolutely. We'll have to get you something too.
I'll take a hat.
All right. And with that, that's right. They do make toques, actually. They definitely do. We'll wrap it up before it goes too long. But once again, a big round of applause. Rob Watson, 100-kilometer crusher. Well done. 8:06. Super excited to see you line up again in about 6 months' time.
Gary, thank you so much for your help to get me and the advice you shared. Thank you so much to everyone who sent a kind word and some encouragement. It meant a lot. I mean, this is a really cool community. It's a very supportive community, and I'm very proud of myself to be able to say I'm a 100K runner now, eh? Hey, I'm one of you. I'm one of you.
You're still one of the fastest out of us too, and only going to get faster.
Hopefully, man. So you recover well because you're looking to crush it in a week, and I'm super pumped for round next up for you.
You almost said poop. You said poop. You almost said poop. It's on our minds right now. No poop next weekend.
Yeah, no poop next weekend.
On that note, we got to call it before it goes off the rails here. All right. See you next week. Well done. Congratulations.
Cheers, buddy. Thank you.